And we're live. Asanteni sana for joining the show today. Leo tutakuwa live kwa page ya Mariakim, page ya DJ Boy. Kwa hivyo please join in, share with your friends, family, pia wapate get to see what is going on, kile tunaduingi hapa Shujaz. So before tufanye introduction zetu, wacha tu niseme tumekuwa tukicelebrate women this month and a lot has been going on. So leo tutakuwa tunapitia stories za period shaming in quotes. So lazima tujue that women are an integral part of our society na lazima to accept the natural process of life. Kwa hivyo leo kitu yenye tu tutakuwa tunapitia ni kujua what women go through during their period and how tunaweza wasaidia. Just allow me to say that today we have been graced by Janet Mbugua. Thank you so much for joining. Yasmin, thank you so much for joining. Janet, Miriam, thank you so much for joining. Yasmin, are you okay? Is your mic good? Yasmin, unanipata? Okay, wacha tuendelee. Janet, kindly introduce yourself to us today and please tell us what you do and how you're going to maybe assist women this month and how maybe we can partner with you in such period shaming and such. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, thanks Alice. Ningependa kuwasalimia wote. Tena hawa mafans wa 10 years, 7 years. I don't know what the criteria is to get there, but mtanipea feedback. I'm Janet. I'm a media person. I was a news anchor, reporter, producer. I'm the founder of Inua Dada. We work a lot with women's and girls' rights, especially period rights. And periods are a very natural thing. So it's unfortunate that stigma. So I'm hoping that, especially after everything that happened this year with the senator, everything that we've done with Professor Miriam, she's also doing a lot of great work. Yasmin also, to Kimpata, she's doing a lot of great work in the conversation. The idea is we need to make this a normal conversation. It's really good to have men involved in the conversation. I'd love to hear their feedback on how they can end period stigma as well. And so, yeah, I use my social media a lot to talk about these issues, whether it's Instagram, whether it's Facebook. So hopefully we can find a way to figure out how we can end period stigma and period poverty. But I'm excited to be with all of you guys today. So asanteni sana.
Asante sana, Janet. Miriam, kindly introduce yourself. Tell us what you do. Tell us a bit about yourself.
Thank you so much. God, it's so hard to come after Janet. Like, media personality, social media. How am I doing? I'm just Miriam Sidibe. I'm an author as well. A business book that's called Brands on a Mission. I'm the founder and chief mission officer of a company called Brands on a Mission. And what we do is we try to encourage brands and company to drive more social impact across the world. And we tackle one social issue at a time. And at the moment, we are very excited to see what we can do in terms of lending our voice for menstrual health and period. And it's super exciting and super cool to be here to talk about it, to talk about periods and to talk about what we can do to be able to talk about periods as openly as we want, so that there's no end of period shaming. And I was very, very proud to be able to wear white with Senator Gloria this, for this International Women's Day, to be able to show that all of us can wear white and it can happen to all of us. And that's completely fine. Whether or not it was intentional or not is not the point. The point is we should be able to talk about periods. There's no shame and everybody should be educated. And everyone who actually menstruates, women and girls and people who menstruate, should not be ashamed to be able to express when that time of the month is there and when they need more support. So I'm really hoping that we can have a fun conversation around the various stories that we all went through in terms of period. And obviously, I can't wait to stop menstruating altogether because I'm that old.
Oh, really? Okay, just allow me to say that she's also a professor. Thank you so much. And now, Yasmin, hatuja kusikia leo.
Yeah, this technology thing. So, and I'm glad that during this International Women's Month, they're trying to bridge the digital divide gap and work on leveraging on technology and innovation. So, I'm sorry, I've just joined using my phone now. I think I had some challenges with my laptop. So I hope you can now hear or listen to what I'm saying, because I also got what Miriam was saying.
Thank you, Yasmin. Kindly tell us what you do.
My name is Yasmin Mohammed. I am a menstrual champion, founder and director of Superb community-based organization. It is a CBO based in the informal settlement of Kibra in Nairobi, Kenya. And we work around different thematic areas, but majorly we focus on sexual and reproductive health and rights and bodily autonomy. And under SRHR, we work around menstrual health management. And menstrual health management, we do facilitation of menstrual health, that is ensuring that menstruators have access to menstrual health information. We do distribution of quality menstrual sanitary towels. Through support from Inua Dada and other development partners, we've been able to distribute disposable sanitary towels. We also do dialogues around menstruation with the male champions, whereby we engage men in the conversation around menstrual health, because we believe men are allies and they are also supposed to be part and parcel of period conversation, so that we be able to end period shaming. Yeah, so in a nutshell, that's what we do as an organization. And as a menstrual champion, I'm also in the front line in advocating in ending period shame for women and girls living in marginalized communities and underserved communities as well. I'm happy to be here, and I'm looking forward to a very productive engagement or rather discussion around period shame, and also expand my network with other champions who are in the broadcast. Thank you.
Thank you, Yasmin. Thank you so much. Samuel, hatuja kusikia leo.
Sorry, how are you? Can you hear me?
Yeah, we're fine. Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, I am Samuel from Nakuru, and I am a researcher and also a social worker. I do a lot of humanitarian work in Nakuru, especially with street children, and we target young mothers and mostly adolescent girls who are between the age of 15 and 24 years. Yes, so most of the time we will connect with partners who are willing to assist communities here in Nakuru, and we donate sanitary pads to the street children. Yes, and last week we had the Adolescent Health Week, where we were going school by school in Nakuru, and we were talking and having dialogues with the young girls and adolescents regarding this whole topic of period stigma and how girls can be in school, keeping the topic of keeping girls in school by providing for them sanitary pads. So that's what I do, and I'm glad to be here.
Asante sana, Samuel. Itotia. Please
Hello.
unmute. Hi.
Hello, guys.
Hi.
Happy to connect with you guys. I'm Itotia from Kibagare. Kibagare is a slum between Nairobi School and Rolesho. I'm super fan, Shujaz. I've been working with Shujaz from 2011 till to now. I'm also at the team manager, Kibagare Girls FC. We have girls under 10, under 15, and seniors. And I hope we'll network with the likes of Janet Mbugua, so we can see what we can do for the girls. I know they'll be happy. Yeah, thank you.
Asante sana, Itotia. Charity.
Hi everyone, Earlier, I think I introduced myself, but I'll do again. My name's Charity. I come from Watamu, farthest of coast. Those who come to coast, I think you've heard about Mombasa, Kilifi, but I come from Watamu, a very interesting area. So I'm a Shuja's distributor this is my 3rd year. Shuja's distributor. I'm also a super fan of Shuja's. I'm an entrepreneur and also do lots of community work. I'm a director of Hasid initiatives. We do lots of work on girls' rights, on reproductive health, and also other issues. But one of our thematic areas is on educating and training girls on their rights, on their reproductive health rights. So I'm excited to be here, and hopefully I'll learn a lot. Thank you.
Asante sana Charity. We are also eager to learn from each other. Asanteni sana for joining the show. So we just want to see nani wametujoin leo. Like I said, tuko live kwa page ya Miriam, tuko live kwa page ya DJ Boy. We have shared, please share it with your family, with your friends. Wacha watu join leo so that the conversation can be interesting. So naona Suleiman Obimbo following from Kakamega. Big up sana Suleiman. Prince Samaria live from Kisii. Big up sana Prince Samaria. Gabriela Penti tumesema una mark register. Asante sana. And usisahau leo tuko live DJ B, tuko live Miriam. Please share the link with your friends, with your family, ndio wote wapate kuparticipate kwa hii conversation. So leo swali ya kwanza tutaanza nayo ni kwa Madem, because obviously it's about period shaming. This whole month by the Shujas tumekuwa tukifanya issues about period shaming, about women. How can we help women at that time of the month? That is a natural process that occurs, and it's just like any other natural process. Kwa hivyo, so from the ladies, I just like to know, what is one thing you wish you knew, before you started your first period? And tafadhali feel free kuongea Sheng, Kiswahili, lugha yote itatoka. Tafadhali, please. Thank you. Over to you. Let's start with Miriam.
So that's a long time away. One thing I knew. I wish I knew. I have to say, I mean, I didn't know what kind of choices there was in terms of like ways to be able to like take care of your periods. Like, you know, there wasn't much choice at that point. There was like a pad, and it was this huge big pad. And there was no other choices. It was, you know, we were made to be really ashamed to even want to use a tampon, and honestly, we couldn't afford it either, right? So, so trying to figure out ways to be able to take care of your periods and managing it was something that was completely new. So I wish I knew like different ways. Like today there's the cups, today there's tampons, today there's period panties, you know, there are pads, and you know, all those different choices. I wish I knew how many choices you could have to make it easier to manage your periods, to be honest.
Yeah, so true. Thank you so much, Miriam. And I just like to throw Janet under the bus for this one. Just allow me to ask you, what do you think are some alternative to pads that women can use, especially those in the marginalized communities who don't have access to sanitary towels? And what are some of the things that you think that the government can do to be able to make pads and sanitary towels more accessible, especially to those who are in marginalized areas?
Alice, hata huku niuliza maswali ya what do you wish you knew? Government policy na kuona, but ni sawa.
Sini ulianza kujiintroduce na majagons, eh?
So I brought the problem on myself, sawa naelewa.
Yes,
I love what Professor Miriam has just said. I'll quickly answer what I wish I knew. I started when I was very young. I was 10 years old. So I just wish I knew anything, because I woke up, there was blood in my bed, and I thought I was dying. My mom hadn't talked to me because I was too young, because my sister started at 13. So I just wish I knew, you know, it was traumatizing. But here we are, many, many, many years later. I also wish I knew about endometriosis and diseases. I live with endometriosis. It's very painful. And I thought it would go away after having children. I have 2 children. I still have endometriosis. And I think Elsie, who works with Miriam, is somebody who champions endometriosis. So alternatives to pads. Kwa sasa naweza sema sanitary pads which are disposable are the ones which are most accepted. Why? Because if you're going to use, a lot of my friends and peers and Yasmin's as well in the space, they distribute reusable pads. But if you don't have access to water, kama hakuna maji, kama mtu ajui kuziosha vizuri, and they don't dry properly, they can cause infections, right? But I'm not saying they're not used. There's a lot of places where reusable pads are being distributed by organizations. So that one is usually the next alternative. And also things like using leso, cotton wool ambao umefunika na leso, and maybe Charity can speak to that, especially at the coast, is something that's used but maybe not encouraged, but it's an option. Because let's be honest, pads are expensive. That's why period poverty exists. Yeah. Because a packet of sanitary pads can cost the same as somebody trying to decide between pads and what they're going to divide in food at home. So the alternatives people use, if it's not reusable pads, which you have to make sure you wash them properly and dry them properly, then mtu anaweza tumia leso ambao ndani yake umeweka cotton wool, which is not the best, but it's an alternative, which is most accessible to people. What does the government need to do? I think we've been asking the government for 10 years. Things improve, then they go back. Then they improve, they go back. So first, the budget was increased. And this is something Yasmin talks about a lot, which is putting money behind pads and behind periods in education and in products. We need a very big budgetary allocation. We also need the government to prioritize the issue. Wasione kitu kama ni ya Madem peke yake. And they shouldn't see it like it only affects girls. It affects everyone. Because if you have girls dropping out of school and you have a teen pregnancy crisis, it kind of affects all of us in a way. So I think the government needs to prioritize it, and they need to increase more information and products. And Itotia, after this call, inafaa nipigie simu, tupange vile, we'll distribute to some of the girls he was talking about later. But yeah, Alice, I hope that answers the question. Hapo sawa. I hope that answers the question. Like, yes, you know, alternatives, alafu government to do more. So we just need a change. Yeah.
Okay, asante sana. Charity, I'd just like you to share with us, what are some of the things that you wish you knew before you started the period? What do you wish that someone told you?
Okay, mine is a very interesting story. The first time nilipata period zangu, mtashangaa, I was 15 years. And that is the time I was sitting for my KCPE. Can I continue?
I'm sorry about that. Itotia, please mute your mic.
Okay, can I continue?
Yes, certainly.
Mine is a very interesting story. Natumia Kiswahili. Unajua mimi ni Mswahili sanifu. Hopefully mtaelewa. Natoka pwani ya Kenya. Ndio. So mine is a very interesting story. My first period came when I was sitting for my KCPE. And no one had taught me. Not my mother. You see, as I'm coming from the Mijikenda, the 9 tribes of the coastal people. We are supposed to be taught about all these things by our grandmothers. And funny enough, or unfortunately, sikuwa na bibi. Bibi is my grandmother in pure Swahili. So yangu ikakuwa mbaya sana kwa sababu the first period I was sitting for my KCPE in the year 1999, and it really affected my performance. Though siku fail vile, but it affected my performance. Okay, that happened. So later on nikafundishwa through a friend, and coming from the coastal region, joto ni nyingi, and also the rate of poverty in my family that time. So my friend akaniambia ningeweza kutumia tissue, because now I was learning from her. Tissue ama nguo, the leso unaikata unatumia. So hivyo ndo ilianza, but going up niliweza kupata usaidizi. I got some help from close people, but now us coming from Pwani huku Watamu, I've seen lots of girls dropping out of school kwa sababu wanakosa sanitary towels, and now hiyo situation inafanya kuna hawa youth the borders, they take advantage of that. They provide for them for the exchange of sexual intercourse of course, na inakuwa wanaanza sex debate early sex mapema sana at the age of 12. At the age of 12 a girl who yuko around class 6 hapo, so imekuwa ni shida kwa sababu it affects their education, plus they become dependent on the borders and wanapata STIs wakiendelea kufanya hizo ngono kwa sababu the exchange of hizo sanitary towels, HIV. So rates ya HIV among the youth girls in Kilifi County, kama mnaweza angalia hizo score, iko high, na of course the education level ya watu wa Kilifi pia imeenda chini because of the poverty levels, na inachangiwa pia na hii mambo ya kukosa sanitary towels. Yeah, thank you.
Asante sana Charity. Yasmin, please tell us, kuna any instance in your life penye umepitia period shaming, ama umepata labda umekuwa in an uncomfortable situation juu ya period zako?
So many times. Kwa sababu kwanza I'd like to also answer the story of what I wish I knew about menstrual health. So I wish ningejua kwa pads kuna venye the disposable one, kuna venye unafaa uvae, like there is a narrow part and a wider part. Ningejua the narrow part inakuja juu, inakuja mbele, then the wider part inaenda nyuma, singe soil nguo zangu ovyo ovyo, then nakuwa embarrassed. Like I wish I knew that, because you find wase wengi, like madem wengi ambao wana soil nguo zao, si eti saa ingine wakwagi na hizo pads, wanakuaga na pads but kuna venye hawajavaa venye inafaa kuvaliwa, like they don't have information on how they're supposed to put on these sanitary towels. So what I'd love, kitu ningependa kushare about maybe my story around menstrual health, it's quite interesting as well, because pia mimi nakam kutoka kwa hii community. Kuna community iko hapa Kibra, the Nubian community, iko very marginalized, hata hatutambuliki na gava, unashika. So unapata vitu zilikuwa zikikam like msaada, hata hizo sanitary towels, unapata wenye wako na ma IDs, wazazi wao wanachukuliwa hizo IDs. Sisi hata like hatuna hizo access to identification. By then nilikuwa bado mdogo, nilikuwa class 7. So zangu zilikam nikiwa class ya afternoon, na nilisoil nguo yangu ile mbaya kabisa. Unaona venye Senator Gloria alisoil nguo yake, yangu ilikuwa hivyo, na yani ilikuwa ina show ile kabisa. Nilikuwa shule, so uniform hiyo period blood inashika nguo mpaka inakuwa ngumu. Sijui kuna msee ana relate na hii, because yani blood imejaa kwa nguo hadi nguo inakuwa ngumu, na ilipita hadi kwa loka, like hiyo desk ambayo nilikuwa nimekalia. So mimi nilishindwa manze kusimama, because kulikuwa na maboys hapo, na uniform yetu ya Olympic primary ilikuwa ni light blue hata sahi as we're speaking. So mimi manze nilikuwa embarrassed kabisa, na best yangu tu mmoja hapo class ndo akaniambia, hey, fanya hivi, we chukua sweater yako ufunge kwa kiuno, kwa sababu home time utafika aje. Then tukirudi nyuma upande wa community yetu, unapata vitu zilikuwa zikikam, like msaada hata kwa ofisi ya chief nini, kwa sababu hizi vitu saa ingine zo ukam but inapita kwa administration. So ikipita kwa administration, me I was raised up by like under the custody of my grandmother, my maternal grandmother. So she had limited information around menstrual health, and we were being driven by the cultural, like Nubian cultural traditional values. At one point mi nilikuwa na feel ni kama zilikuwa zinani deprive ama ina infringe some of my rights as a woman and as a girl. So vitu zitakam, lakini kwa sababu hata granny ana ID, unapata hata haezi endea ama haezi pewa, kwa sababu kuna ile venye unafaa ufanye registration ndo upate hizi stuffs. So ilikuwa very hard, so ilibidi tu ni opt for, kuna hizi nguo za kinubi huwa zinavalika inaitwa gurbaba. So mi nilikuwa nakataga hizo, like ndakata, nikishakata hiyo ndio naiva, nikishaiva natupa, nakata tena natupa, nakata tena natupa. So it was until I was recruited in an organization. It's a girl empowerment organization in Kibra, and they were looking at recruiting orphans and bright students. So hapo ndo niliweza kupata kukuwa recruited in that organization. Nikaanza kupata information za menstrual health na pia hizo sanitary towels nikaanza kupata hapo. Za chuo zilikuwa zinakam, lakini zikikuja ni either zitakuja kidogo ama si kila mtu atapata. Wataanza kwanza na wale wase wa class 8, watu wa class 8 wakishapata ndo waende 7, hivyo. So unapata haukuwa unategemea hata hizo zenye zinakaa mchuo unashika. So mi nashukuru sana the organization that came on board to my rescue on matters period poverty, because hata kwa background yenye mi na come from a very like a poor background, na ilikuwa hard manze ku afford hizi sanitary towels. Nyanyangu alikuwa na like ako na wajukuu wengi, sio mimi pekee nilikuwa hapo. So atakununulia wewe pad ama ataona venye nyinyi wajukuu mtakula kwa nyumba. So at least through that organization I was able to have access to information around menstrual health as well as access to period products. And upon exiting, hapo ndo niliona manze kuna madem wengi kwa community yetu, sana sana the Nubian community ama wale marginalized communities, kuna hadi the Borana community, Somali communities ambao wako hapa Kibra. Na unapata vitu kaa hizi hata hawajuangi, sana sana pia unapata religion na culture wameweka ni kama hatufai kuongelelea hizi stories za periods kabisa. Ufai kuongelea, wewe ni Muislamu usiongelee maneno ya period, unasikia usiongee kwa space yenye wase wako. So hiyo ni kitu ilikuwa like una grow ukijua we hufai kuongelea hizi stories. So mi nili transit from the organization from being a recruit to being a field officer. After being a field officer nika exit, then hapo ndo nikasema manze, I need to go back to my community na nishikilie some of the girls ambao hawajakuwa na opportunity ya kujoin these organizations in Kibra. And I was like, if someone walked with me through my period journey, why don't I also walk with another person or like few of the girls from a community through their period journey? So ndo nikaanza hiyo initiative ambayo inajiita Superb, which I'm very passionate about, and tumeweka matters ya period kipaumbele. So yeah. Niko na story lakini nitazungumzia tu as time goes by.
Thank you so much. Asante Yasmin for sharing your story, and I'm truly very sorry for maybe what you went through, but right now it's so great kuona kuwa unapitisha someone else asije akapitia what you've been through. It's so good to see you supporting other girls who would or who are going through what you went through so that they don't have to go through the same. Thank you so much for sharing your story. Asante sana Charity for sharing your stories with us. And now just allow me to ask you, Samuel, since okay, as a man, of course you don't go through your period, but interact na women, maybe you have sisters, cousins, your wife, is there any way that maybe unaonanga women wamekuwa in any way marginalized, and is there any way you feel as a man unaweza ukachipi na unaweza ukasaidia?
Alice, unanisikia?
Na kusikia vyema.
Okay. mi naweza sema, wacha niongelea my first encounter yenye niliona dem, tunaitanga kunyesha. Allow me to use that word. Sorry, I know I have women in the house. I'm very, very sorry. Okay, menstruating. Okay. So hapo class 8 ndio nilianza kujua madem hunyesha. So na nikona most of the time wakati tuna attend classes unapata especially the bright girls ndo walikuwa noticeable kwa class, wenye walikuwa nakuja top 5 hivi. Unaweza pata dem akujangi class for like a period of time. In a month anaweza kosa kuja class for some time. So hapo nilijua hii issue ina affecting how madem. In as much as you can imagine a lady anakujanga number 3 ama number 4 but top of the class ni jamaa. So unapata udem kama ange attend classes for a whole month, na ukihesabu hizo kumiss classes tuseme in a week, saa zingine tuseme 3 days to a week, ukihesabu in a whole year ina affect sana mambo ya school attendance. So unapata udem kama ange attend classes vizuri angekuwa hata top of the class. So niliona hapo pia girls wako neglected in one way or another. And also the first time yenye nili not really kuona unajua sasa as nitaongea kama lugha ya mtaani, nitaongea lugha ya mtaani. There's a smell that comes when madem tuseme wananyesha. So at first ilikuwa uncomfortable kiasi kwangu, but over time sasa vile nilianza kufanya kazi za community na hizi vitu zingine ndio nililearn kujua hizi vitu ni vitu za kawaida, na si ati ni mtu anapenda kukua vile yako. Maybe ameenda shule na akakosa padi ya kuchange because of the economic situation yenye iko, na maybe imemhapenia akiwa tu shule. So kwa hii conversation naweza sema, kwa hii conversation ya mimi najitanga he for she, kwa hii conversation ya kuempower madem about mambo ya period stigma na hizo vitu zingine, ku avoid discrimination, men bado hatujafika that point of being empowered enough kujua madem wanapitia hizi shida. Because hapa mtaani ukiongea na wasee atakwambia hiyo ni issue ya kujitakia, yani haoni kama ni the way we are discussing right now, it's a natural thing yenye na happen ya watu. So not a lot of men wana embrace history yote, na and unless maybe juu mimi sija grow na nimegrow tu na maboys. Mama wangu alipata tu, niko na 2 brothers, so sija grow na madem. So wakati niliingia kwa relationship ndio the first time nilijua madem upitia ABCD, yani ile on a personal level. Unajua hii ya shule ilikuwa tu ile kusikia yani hearsay, a lot of hearsay, but men bado waja embrace kitu sana. Wanaonanga ni kama hii ni story ya women empowerment, hii ni story ya, but ultimately naweza sema the same way condoms zinapeanangwa free, inastahili kuwa actually the opposite. Pads zipeanwe free, condoms zibaiwe, because sex ni optional, but for periods ni kitu yenye ni natural. So wakiweza replace hizi policies za pads zikuwe free na condoms zikuwe zinabaiwa at the same rate yenye pad inabaiwa, I think we can really go far as a country and as a nation. That's my thoughts. Asante Alice.
Asante sana Samuel for sharing with us kile unadhani. So tuko na wasee wamejoin in today. There's someone who's asking anasema mademu wakijiongea ati watasaidika. Kuna mwingine pia anasema wana embrace mademu na wanapenda sana na watakuwa wanaweza kuwasaidia during their period. But Samuel, to touch on to a point yenye umesema, kuna point important sana umesema yenye naweza taka maybe Yasmin tell us about it. Is it possible? Because me kuna wakati at the universities there, uko pale, uko shule, umeenda shule ataka kutembea, and then you find that condoms are free in the washrooms, but at the same time there's a girl who can't afford food, there's a girl who can't afford clothing, basic necessities, and they're not even in a position to afford sanitary towels. So is it possible for the for maybe the condoms to be replaced with sanitary towels? Are we there as a country? And what do you think are some of the measures that can be taken?
Kusema kweli, tumejaribu sana kama menstrual champions to advocate for the review of the budgetary allocation for sanitary towels, because unapata, as much as we want sanitary towels to be free, but unapata kuna how the manufacturers and the manufacturers wanakuwa taxed kuleta hizo materials ambazo zina process hizi sanitary towels. So unapata leo hata ukienda supermarket, pad Sanigal ilikuwa 50 bob. Sai Sanigal ni 70 bob ama 80 bob. Of which pesa kaa hiyo mdem mwenye anatoka mtaa ni ngumu sana yeye kufanya nini ku afford. Then tukiona story ya Gava pia I think ina depend on some development partners, because hata hiyo time ya ndo wakileta the Basic Education Act, when Uhuru, our former president, alisign, it was stating that at least girls who are enrolled to public schools na ambao wamefika puberty, au ndo pekee watapata nini, watapata hizo sanitary towels, na pia ilikuwa inaangalia from 5 to 7 packs. So mi najiuliza 5 to 7 packs na mwaka iko na 12 months, unashika? So hizo 12 months, hizo pack 5 ama hizo pack 7 like ina sustain aje udem? So ni kumaanisha hata gava yenyewe haija allocate enough resources za hizi sanitary towel, and that's why we were very tulikasirika sana venye the National Assembly, that is the 12th Parliament, ili slash away hiyo budgetary allocation ya pads from 470 million to 260 million. Kwa sababu unapata initially hata hizo pads hazikuwa zinafika kwa grao venye zilikuwa zinafaa zifike. Unapata zilikuwa ndio free but hazifiki venye zinafaa kufika. Unakuja tu kuona kwa news pads za government iko na label ya government of Kenya zinapelekwa sijui wapi, zinaenda kuripakejiwa tena after zime expire. So unashangaa walikuwa wanazieka ya nini, na ilhali Madem kwa mamitaa wako wanafanya nini, wako wanapata hizi pads. So budget imeslashiwa from 470 to 260 million. So mi hadi najiuliza, tunataka pads ikuwe free, tunataka pads even with the Basic Education Act ina state that inafaa distribute sanitary towels kwa hao Madem. So hiyo 260 million itafanya hiyo kazi yenye 470 million ilishindwa kufanya. So it's upon us as menstrual champions tuone jinsi ambavyo tuta urge our government waweze kureview upwards hiyo budgetary allocation, so that historia tunataka pads ikuwe kwa washrooms, kwa schools, sana sana ianzie shule, because kwa menstrual health au mademu wadogo ndo the most vulnerable group on matters menstrual health management. Ianzie kwa mashule alafu ikuje kwa other public spaces. Na kama organization tulianza process ya ku set up pad dispenser. Venye tu umesema kuna ile the condom dispensers kwa mahoteli, kwa hoteli, kwa public toilets. Ukienda tu anywhere kwa any public space unapata kuna condom dispenser. So sisi tukasema okay, tumejaribu kupiga kelele sana lakini ni kama ina fall into deaf ears. So what we will do is to innovate a pad dispenser. So tukachukua jerrycan, so unaona mtungi ya maji, tukachukua mtungi ya maji, tukakata, tukapaint, tukamwaga hapo pads, tukaianika nje ofisi yetu. So ikakuwa mademu wanakuja wanachukua pads from that water jerrycan. So it attracted support from partners, and last year tukakuwa supported with a digital pad dispenser ambayo ndo inatumika kwa sasa. So we are also trying, we created, or rather we came up with an online petition that requests the government, with the menstrual health policy that they launched some years back, they also need to provide, or the public spaces inafaa kukuwa na hizo pad dispensers, na they can use us as an example, and also I know other organizations pia wako na hizo pad dispensers. So for them is to just partner with us, the likes of Inua Dada who are processing or manufacturing, they are making disposable sanitary towels, and see on how tutakuwa able kufanya nini, kupata free sanitary towel kwa hizo public spaces, because as an institution, like now the government institution, watatuambia like hawawezi kufanya peke yao, and watazidi kutu tax ndo waweze kupata enough resources ya kufanya nini, ya kuprovide free sanitary towels, of which even with the resources tumeangalia kama Wakenya kuna misappropriation of funds. So I don't want to talk much, but kufikia hizo vitu ambazo nimeweza kusema, if they embrace or foster partnership with organizations like ours, then we'll be able to make a step towards providing free and quality sanitary towels to menstruators in different spaces. Yes, thank you.
Thank you, Yasmin. And again, I have to say thank you. Thank you so much kwa ile bidii ambayo unatia ndio some of the girls wasipitie what you've been through or the stigma that is related to period shaming. And Miriam, our professor, tu nikuulize the same question. Do you think that we are there as a country whereby we are able to engage the government, we are able to engage our men to provide sanitary towels to girls, especially in marginalized communities, to provide sanitary towels to girls who are doing unthinkable things just to get that sanitary towel?
Yeah, no, I think that's such a good question. And I want to go back to the role of men and boys, I think, because I think in a society, if you don't get to a point where you can respect girls and women for their role in society as an equal and just fully respect everything around the body, what a woman and a girl actually goes for a woman, I do think that the key question is, how do we educate our men and our boys to be able to be respectful of that time for girls, right? And I think as a nation to start becoming a bit more sensitive to what the woman actually needs during this time. I mean, to really think about how can, men can really think about how helpful they can be. For them to never, actually change the norms around not blaming. So every time a woman is a bit emotional or is trying to, to push back on something, to say, are you on your period or what? Like how many of times have we heard that before, right? Almost as an excuse of where we are. I think there's something about the social norms around what boys and men think that they're entitled to say around women's bodies, which I think we can really tackle and we need to tackle. And that, for me, is so much, it's fundamental. And obviously, period is a very important part of that. But I think it goes beyond that. And that's the reason why we find gender-based violence to become such an issue, for example, in our societies, right? So I think there's a lot of that. Just get educated around the periods, the same way that we educate a girl that we should educate a boy, so that he understands. And I have a 9-year-old boy and a 7-year-old girl, and my girl is like, oh, what's a period? And then my boy said, this is a girl's talk, this has nothing to do with me. And that's when I said, no, this has everything to do with you, because you're sharing a room with your sister. You need to understand what a period is, and you need to understand when it happens, how to be sensitive, and how to be educated so you understand what is normal. And I think if you go back at the heart of that, it's about finding a good equilibrium between women and men, so that it is really clear what exactly it is that you will be able to drive. So I think for me, that's the part where I think society needs to do. I think you talked a lot already about, giving free pads, putting it into policies and in all of that. But I do think there is something about just the women and men and that equilibrium in society and how important that is.
Okay, thank you so much, Miriam. I think amesema point important sana hapo. Education ndio kila kitu. And that is what we try to do here at Shujaz. Kila siku tunajaribu educate people on issues that zina engrave our society, issues ambazo zinatusumbua, so that we are able to find alternative solution. Please join us live every weekday at 8:30 kwa page ya DJ Boy, kwa page ya Miriam. Share with your friends, share na familia yako, so that we are able to find a solution kwa issues ambazo zina affect society yetu. Finally, wacha tumalizie hii show by allowing Janet to tell us. First of all, let me appreciate Janet. Thank you so much for everything that you've been doing towards our girls, our women, so they are able to have access to sanitary towels, and all that you do does not go unnoticed. Please tell us, as the media, what do you think can be done towards finding a solution to this problem? Because since our Senator Gloria, the Honorable Alienda, to Parliament with a stained cloth, it has been an issue imekuwa. And is it okay for girls to be shamed for going through? Is it something that people should hide? And what can the media do about this? Please tell us before we finish off, and thank you so much for tuning in all today.
Okay, Alice, asante sana, nashukuru what you've said. I also want to thank everyone on this call. Charity kwa vile ana raise awareness pale Watamu, Professor Miriam kwa kazi anafanya through her book and her work. Yasmin is a serious champion, anaongea kuhusu story yake alafu ana inspire wengine. So I think I love being on sessions with people like you guys. Kila mtu akona the same interest ku empower Madem na ku end period stigma, and that's very important. Ata Samuel vile ameongea, we really need to, I feel like with men and boys, they just need to, we've been talking with them for a long time. I think more and more of them are becoming aware, but inafika mahali hata hao wajitole to understand that this is a very natural issue. Even if they don't have sisters or cousins, it affects 50% of the population. So what role can they play? Na sana sana, a lot of the issues are based on culture and patriarchy. So men have a role to extend empathy na kuelewa vile Madem anapitia, just so that we can make headway. Media, 10 years ago kulikuwa story inaitwa Periods of Shame, ilikuwa Citizen TV, vile nilikuwa mtangazaji, and it was on my show which was called Monday Special. That story changed the conversation kabisa. Never had there been a story like that on news ever, and that's what we need to continue to do as media. That story highlighted period poverty for the first time juu ilikuwa on primetime news on the most watched station in the region. So millions of people saw the story about two girls ambao walikuwa wanatoka Marigat, Baringo County, wakitumia vitu kama chicken feathers na soil and goat hide katikati ya hedhi. They didn't have pads, and it showed the world how badly period poverty affects girls. A lot of them were dropping out of school, or vile tu Charity alikuwa ameongea juu ya sex for pads or falling pregnant. So that is the role that media can play, is to keep highlighting the issue. What that story did, it forced parliamentarians at that time to increase budgetary allocation. It introduced the beginning of the menstrual hygiene policy, which was launched in 2020, and it gave rise to so many organizations that you see today because of that story. So the media has to continue playing a role in highlighting, in pushing back on stigma. I think there needs to be a program that focuses on destigmatizing the issue. The more people see it as a normal thing, the more they'll treat it as a normal thing. Akibai, sasa ona niko na mgeni hapa, nataka kusalimia watu.
Hi.
Hi.
Hello,
Yeah.
Unafanya kazi, but pia watoto wanaingilia hii shot. Okay.
Hi, bye.
Pole. So if we can continue to show this thing as a very normal part of life, itafika mali kila mtu ataona tu hakuna shida. The thing is, right now we show it sometimes and then it disappears. We show it sometimes and it needs to be a regular conversation. And I thank Shujaz for what you're doing, because you have an amazing platform with young people. So keep up. I think siku moja mtakuwa na segment ambayo inahusu tu mambo ya periods na reproductive health and rights. That's what we need to do. We need to make it like a regular conversation that includes everyone, that educates everyone, that allows everyone to participate. And we must never stop being there for our sisters, for the girls who are struggling the most. We must never stop being there for them. Let's continue to do what we can to make a difference. So nashukuru sana. Thank you for this amazing opportunity. And I hope we'll come back here soon again, as all of us on this call, and maybe invite other people and then keep having the conversation there. So nashukuru sana.
Hi.
Mali, surely. And boys, and to teach boys at a young age, hata hao waanze kujua mapema vile kusort.
My
So
God,
yeah,
my godson.
Your godson. This is Miriam's godson, Mali. But yeah, Shujaz, thank you so much. Yasmin, kuna mtu hata hapa ameuliza, why do boys see period as a bad omen? What have we failed in educating the boy child? Tunaweza anza sahi ku educate boy child. We can do it now. Now there's enough information, but now the comprehensive education is also not being taught in schools. There's like a barrier. We need to be open with our children. We need to be open. I think Miriam said it around education. As long as that doesn't happen, we'll continue to see the stigma. So why don't we be bold? Everything we've done so far has been good. Now we need to be bold. We need to take it to the next level, and we need to include everyone. That's what I can say. But what Shujaz is doing is a step. You mnafanya awareness, sindio? So these are the things that make a difference. Vile Yasmin anafanya kwa Superb here makes a difference, and what Charity is doing, and Miriam, these are the things that make a difference. So tuendelee tu make a difference how we can, where we can, and we just kind of come together every so often kuongea na sauti moja ku end stigma na period poverty. Asanteni.
Thank you so much, Janet. Thank you so much. Naona Joseph Mutiso anasema heko kwenyu kwa jumla mmekuwa kwa fasihi kwa kuelimisha madem. Ni poa sana. It was such an important point that our professor said that it is always good to educate, and she said that she educates her young children. Kwa hivyo education sasa hapa ndio, and creating awareness, and I believe that the next time that we are here it won't be the same situation, takwa a step forward. I see here Segi Evans akisema, Mariakim, from my point first, educate our ladies more about periods and how to count their periods so that they can prepare to have pads early. Hiyo nayo huwa tunashare kwa page. Madem wote cheki page ya Mariakim, huwa tunashare stories za period, tunashare stories za young moms. Please check out page ya Mariakim na utaget kwa educated. Secondly, gava ingilie kati kwa support kupeana madem. Okay. Freddy naona pia anasema, mimi nadhani ni poa madem wawe wazi kusema. Freddy, squeezy madem, it is so good to talk about this thing openly. Madem squeezy wanaongelelea kuhusu hii kitu. Thank you so much. In what ways would you like for men to support the women? We love all the women during the period cycle. Hiyo swali tungejibiwa na Samuel. Samuel, are you still with us?
Niko hapa, but sorry, I was moving. Rudia tena Ali.
Okay, kuna msi anauliza, in what ways maybe as tunamalizia, please tell us ni njia gani unaona maybe wanaume wanaweza wakasaidia madem ku end hii stigmatization, ku end period shaming?
I think the first thing vile ni na sao jina ni the Nubian lady, the lady who is working in Kibera, vile alikuwa nasema story na nini ku educate our men about hizo mambo ya cultural norms na hizo vitu zote. It should start from us kwanza, sisi wanaume, because naona mmeagree na mimi, most men huwa history ya menstruating and everything hatakangi hiyo story sana. Tukiona dema kwa emotional na kwa hiyo stage sometimes hatuelewangi. So mimi naona the first thing ni kutu educate kwanza, na ndio tuelewe hii kitu ni natural. Si ati dem tu anajifikirianga tu hapo anasema wacha tu nisumbue jamaa wangu, because hata kwa relationship inaharibingi relationship mob sana. Unapata jamaa amekasirika na dem because of ABCD na ni kitu inawahapenia naturally. So naweza sema first of all, tukisha educatiwa tutaelewa mademu wetu, masisters wetu, na tutakuwa tutaaccommodate. That's my point. Okay.
Asante sana Samuel, thank you so much. By the way, inakuanga kitu mbaya sana senye maybe dem on her period and Yasmin said it before, and then boy anamuuliza kitu kama kwenye unanyesha, just because amekasirika or just because she's moody. It is so important to educate women and also boys kuhusu period stigmatization. So as we finish up the show, naweza taka just in very simple words, tuambie something that you'd like to finish this show with, something you'd like people to know, or something you think that you can do kusaidia watu. Wacha tuanze na Charity.
Hi again. So kumalizia hii show, nashukuru sana because we've shared a lot and we are speaking on the same page about period shaming. So in my area where I come from, in my community, ningependa sana kwa sababu young girls at the age of 10 to from 10 ndo huwa wanaanza periods, inategemea na their bodies. So ningependa sana kushirikiana na watu wengine ambao wangekuja on board, tuendelee kufanya awareness and also pia through hii initiative yetu na well wishers wale ambao wanaweza kupartner na sisi tuweze kuendelea kutafuta sanitary towels, na mbali na kuwapatia sanitary towels, there's this very sensitive conversation kwa kufundisha sana about their rights, kwa sababu wakati wa periods hata mambo ya cleanliness about how to take care of their body. So, ningependa sana kushirikiana na people who will partner with us tuendelee so that we get somewhere. We have a lot of work to do, na sana where I come from, Kilifi County and majorly in Watamu, tuko na kazi kubwa ya kufanya, but we shall go somewhere kama tukiweza kuweka vichwa pamoja and help each other, na hopefully should just let this conversation not stop. Let us time to time come back and make reviews and share on where we are according to where we come from and what we do. So ningependa kupongeza sana Shujaz and all the people who are on board today. Big up and thank you very much. Thank you.
Asante sana Charity, and thank you so much for everything umekuwa ukifanya cost to make sure that girls wanapata sanitary towels, wanapata everything that they need during that time of the month. You're well appreciated. Thank you, Charity. As we finish off, Professor, can you tell us what is something that you'd like maybe people to know? What is something, it's like a parting shot?
Well, I think we need to continue the kind of dialogue that Shujaz has just started right now, right? Just promote an open dialogue around menstrual hygiene at home, in schools, in workplace, to just tackle all these taboos. I think that's really, really important. You know, just so that we can stop, you know, some of the myths and misconceptions that are there around periods are dirty or gross. Rather, periods are beautiful, right? You can't get pregnant whilst on your period. Like, you know, just lots of little taboos and misconceptions and myths that are actually stopping us from progress. I think if we can start having something that's much more dignifying and much more beautiful about the way we talk about periods, that will be beautiful for all of us. So let's keep this open dialogue, and I want to congratulate Shujaz for pulling us, all of us together.
Thank you so much. McKenzie, naona umefika na umewasili. What do you have to say for yourself?
Hi guys, I'm so sorry I am late. I have been having issues with my network, but thank you so much, Alice, for at least hanging in there and kushikilia show. Thank you so much, Professor, for being with us today. Janet, media personality, for being with us today also, and for our fans for being with us today. My final remarks for the show is I'd like everyone to at least try as much as possible not to avoid body period shaming, tukue there for each other. Kwa sana sisi kama madem tuweze kujikubali venye tuko, tuweze kujiempower sisi kama madem, na tuweze kusaidiana huku nje. Usiache dem mwingine akuwe na struggle ya peke yake. Tusaidiane sisi wote. Kila mtu at least asione ni kama udem anapitia mengi na hana wasi wa kuwaongelesha. So guys, just be there for each other. Back to you, Alice.
Thank you so much, McKenzie. Samuel, uko na sisi? Okay, sawa. Yasmin, tupe parting shot moja kali ndio tuweze kumalizia hii show. I think she dropped off. Okay, sawa sawa. That has been the show for us today. Hii show itakuwa live, itakuwa on our pages, DJB, Maria Kim. You can share it with your friends, with your family, ndio wapate kuona what we've been talking about. Even after this video will still be on. Thank you so much. That has been us today. Big up.
Bye bye.